All right. Well, here is Conrad's training on how to DIT properly. I am going to be starting with a slide deck that details more of the onset DIT process, and then I will be going into details on how to use the software, how to format your hard drives properly. Uh, this training will be done on via a Mac software. I'm on a Mac. It's what I've got. So there may be some differences for formatting drives or keyboard shortcuts on a PC, but essentially they should all be relatively similar. So let's go through the slides first, and if you want to and beyond that, you may just want to skip to the hardware demonstration portion of this training. So, all right, DIT training. So here we are. So what you want to bring to set is a Sharpie, some green gaff tape, a DIT log, which is a spreadsheet you can download through the Project HQ or the FTV students website, and hard drives from the editor, along with a DIT laptop, or a laptop of your own that can be used to offload footage. Now the DIT laptops can be kind of glitchy on occasion, but they're definitely reliable. Oh, they're PCs. If you're just looking for a machine to copy off footage, then you can't go wrong with those. And the Sharpie and the green gaff tape is for marking off cards that have been already offloaded, because when you get a card handed to you on set, that will mean that it is unoffloaded footage. It's still fresh. You still want that. And here's how to format and label your drives. Drives should be formatted for you as NTFS, which is the PC format. I've heard that it is a more stable format, but you could also do well with the exFAT format, which is the best format for both, that can be used on both Mac computers and PC computers. And it's also very important to label your drives, both your boxes and your drives, so you know which drive is which. You need to label one drive the primary, one the backup, one the editorial. As you probably know, the primary goes to the producer, the backup goes to the cinematographer, and the editorial drive, which is the smallest drive by about 2 terabytes usually, 2 terabytes less than the others, that is, the editorial will go to the editor. As the slide says, Chapman will provide you with either a PC laptop or a DIT cart. The DIT cart is notoriously glitchy, so I would recommend pushing for the PC laptop if one is available. And you want to make sure your location has access to power, not shared with another department, so they won't unplug you, and the hard drives must be plugged into work. Now, here's the tricky thing, actually. You need a lot of outlets for these, like at least 4 or plugs, one for your hard drives and one for your computer. So let me show you the type of product you will need. You will need, ideally, if you can't, an auxiliary power unit like this device. This will not only serve as a power strip, but it also serves as a backup power. So if the power flow is interrupted for some reason when you're mid-transfer, mid-copy, your drives won't automatically shut down. You'll have about 15 minutes of power in most cases. So I would highly recommend getting one of these if you can, or borrowing it from someone else. But for most of the time, you will be safe with just an ordinary power strip. So back to the slides. So yes, cards folder structure. Now, having a good folder structure for offloading cards is really important. It should make things a lot easier for your editor and just easier to manage files in general. So you do want to have it formatted like, say, day 1 video A1, A001 for the first video card, A002 for the first video card. I would also recommend having a separate folder on day 1, day A2, day 3, etc. for audio, so that will be day 1 on audio. And depending on how your set chooses to offload, you may want to offload both audio in batches, like say one card at lunch and one card at end of day, which shouldn't be too much of a difference. It's mostly if you want to just start syncing up audio while you're on set. As noted, the DP provides SD cards and a card converter, not just FD cards. They would be SSD cards. And you want to keep the card label, that's the red tape I was mentioning, on the converter while cloning, so you know what footage is being offloaded. Cloning process. So you generally want to clone to primary and backup, and editorial if you have time. Officially, it's for transcodes, but you don't necessarily have to do transcodes depending on how your editor works. So I would personally recommend just copying to the editorial as well. Dodge's official policy on DITing and what is practical may vary or come into conflict, but personally I would recommend offloading to editorial first and then primary and then backup. And you want to try to have one card cloning, at least one card ready to go. This is great when possible in theory, but not always feasible in practice, because sometimes there can be several hours or an hour or a gap in between finishing offloading one card and receiving the next one. The DIT log. So this is just an example DIT log of what you would be working on over the weekend, and I did this last week on one of the Cycle 2 shoots. You don't have to write it out exactly like this, but you generally want to just have all the information, like what card it came from, the size of the footage on the card, and the destination for it. Like which hard drive it went to. Normally I would be putting down something like primary, secondary, and editorial, or backup and editorial. But in this case, the drives were already named like this, so I kept it like this. And the source indicates which one it would be copied to, and what the destination is. So yeah, copied there. The time of copy completion isn't as critical. It's more important to just note that they all have the same AIM storage size. Check eyes after the copy was completed. And if there are any notes or any errors, or if, like, say, one clip didn't get copied properly, you would write it down in this column. And one way to find out footage size on a Mac would be to go to, let's say, the item and press the Command or Apple key and and this will get the file information. You have this much storage, 1 kilobytes, and for folders, it will also display the amount of items in there. So in this case, there's only one item, the folder itself, so it's 0 kilobytes. No memory, no storage whatsoever. You want to do this at least on a Mac, because that means you can make sure that the same number of files were copied over, and there wasn't any weird glitch that made memory on one end turn out bigger or smaller. Okay, you would generally want to do the same for audio, but it would just be card to but you don't have to record like exactly the same information beyond what I've shown here. So yeah, and okay, back to the slides. Transcoding. It's not necessary for you to do. it's good for making proxies or bringing things into real ID, and you don't want to mess with LUTs unless you are the editor or have had a very specific conversation with the editor. Like, say, if you wanted to put in input LUTs, I would generally not recommend it for these coming shoots. And you definitely do not want to leave the drives alone while cloning or transcoding, unless you know that they're in a safe place and you know that there's someone else watching over them. Because sometimes drives can get knocked around, cables can get disconnected, and you've got like some cloning stopped midway through the shoot. And at the end of the day, like I said, the drives each go home with a different person. Primary goes to producer, backup goes to DP, and editorial goes to DIT. You shouldn't give a drive to the director because you don't want them getting caught up in reviewing the footage. They need to focus on the shoot as it happens. But this varies from production to production, so do what fits best. Final tips. Just make sure you have everything you need to do your job. It is more important than anyone else's because without the footage, there's no film. And you would want to think about investing in some converters, USB-E to USB-C, USB-C to USB, and a power strip, as I was suggesting, just so that you can plug the drives and the card reader into the computer and have it all powered safely. And that is the end of the slideshow. Now on to the tech demo portion. So, first things first, you want to make sure your drives are properly formatted. You would want to go to, on a Mac, the disk utility program, and click. I have 2 drives I've plugged in here. Now you could, as you see, they are both formatted exFAT, which means that's the format that will work on both Mac and PC and have the greatest dual run capability. If they weren't formatted as exFAT or the Windows format, you would click on Erase and change the format to Microsoft NTFS or exFAT or macOS journaled or macOS case sensitive and journaled. Since we are not going to be changing the format here, and because formatting will erase any files already on the computer, on the hard drive, I mean, then we will not change that. However, if you receive a drive and you can confirm that the footage on the drive was from a previous project, then it's fair game to erase that. It should have been erased coming in, or should have been erased at some point with time. So no worries about that. So yeah, just remember disk utility and drives if you need to format something. Now, the steps for copying footage from DaVinci. Okay, so we're going to open Resolve. Just give it a few seconds. Got DaVinci Resolve opening right there. I'm probably going to cut this part out later. Long loading time. Loading time. All right. So we've got DaVinci Resolve open. You want to go to New Project. I'm going to name this Offload Test Demo. Click Create. And then you want to go to the Media tab right here. And here's what's very important. You want to make sure that you have the media storage enabled and the clone tool enabled. This is the media storage. This is the clone tool. And here is how we can start to copy footage. So first we want to click Add Job to create a job, and then navigate to the drives. Let's say we'll copy something from EVA 00 to let's say we'll copy something from CLA to EVA00. And let's just say we'll copy to the resolve white balance test folder, drag it over here, drop. So it's going to go there. And you can also create a second in job if you need to copy something to a different folder. Too many ones right there. You are technically able to copy to multiple locations, destinations in one job, but I would not recommend that, because if a job is taking abnormally longer, as resolve can lag sometimes, and you need to cancel a job, then that just means you've got less copied and you're not sure how much you safely copied anyway. So, spread it out over multiple jobs. And in this case, I will make job number 2 copy to this After Effects folder. Okay, so I will copy this folder, drop it over here, and then here, and then now that I've got the file paths set up, I will click Clone. All right, judging by the green text, it looks like everything was copied properly. So no need to worry about that. If you had something with yellow or red text appear here, that would mean that there may have been some kind of error or copying some of the footage, and you might need to re-copy. But that right there should be fine. This is the best practice for copying footage from cards, but it's not always the best way to copy audio, since audio may be not always contained in a folder, and it's also just more steps. So for that, I would recommend using TerraCopy, which is a free program that you can download for either Mac or PC to safely e-copy files from one program to another. Now, when you open TerraCopy from a fresh project, it will give you a new job. But if you want to create multiple copy jobs, you would go up here and click New Task. You would choose your target, your destination folder. And for this, I will just choose the root of the drive I was copying everything else to. And you can see the destination is established. Now I will go to my other drive and copy something else. Drag and drop. Okay, they're copied. Copy over. All right, and this program, TerraCopy, runs a checksum like the green text I was talking about in Resolve, which is essentially the same thing. Its text is green, no warnings were displayed, so that should be fine. One other thing I forgot to mention about Resolve is you always want to check the checksum type and make sure it's set to MD5. And that is all. You've got all your footage copied successfully. Then the last step you want to do, like I said, is to check the storage size. So this is the last file we copied. We did do Command I. Memory looks about the same folder count. So that's it. Yeah, that's all. You've successfully offloaded your cards and you're ready for the next one. One last tip. If you're receiving cards close to the end of shoot, don't start offloading them, because they likely won't copy to all of the drives in time for everything to wrap. Usually these cards take about at least half an hour to offload. The video does at least, which can be difficult when you're like only an hour left till you all have to be out of the location. So yeah, that's all. Happy DITing. Good luck.